This is continuing courtroom coverage in the trial of James Crumbley from the Hidden Killers podcast from True Crime Today. Now, back to the courtroom.
That's you, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what is that, if you know?
That was the person that I saw walking into the building. So, if you asked me at the time that somebody was going to be walking in behind me, I would have told you no way. You know, the building there's fobs for every door. So, like I said, you know, it's not a public building. And so, when the officers came by, they asked me. You know, I was like, oh, they probably took off somewhere. My confidence in them being inside of the building was, you know, limited.
You did not think they were inside, whoever that
correct.
was?
Yeah, I definitely didn't think that they were right behind me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the call, you stated you referred to the individual as female and she.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the person's face?
No, I didn't. They were turned to their back. I think it was just like generally the figure of the person that I saw, more or less.
Okay. What happened after you called 911?
So you can see an officer in the top right getting there.
So that's pretty quick. Was it a few minutes?
Yeah, a couple minutes. It wasn't too bad, especially for Detroit response times.
Okay.
So when you come, or I came out and actually met them out there because I saw their lights. If it wasn't the siren, it was like one of their floodlights.
And
but
when you came out of the building, did you know where the individual was?
No,
okay.
I did not. I assumed at the time they probably just took off.
All right.
I was, to be honest, I was surprised that their car was still even there. I thought they
All right.
left.
At some point, did more than just one officer arrive?
Yeah, so I think it was one or two squad cars that showed up originally, and then so there's the second one right there. So I walked them through the building to get into the parking lot because the parking lot is closed. And I think once they kind of confirmed that the car was correct, that's when a lot more people showed up.
What's a lot?
10 plus squad cars.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you remain? Well, let me just. At what point was this over to the extent where you went home? How many?
Oh, I was there till like 2 or 3.
Okay, and were you in the building the whole time?
No, I was in the building for probably like an hour. I was in my unit, and then they had questions. You know, I was talking with them a little bit, kind of just like generally floating between the front of the building and then inside my office. And then I got into a squad car and they took me to what they called like a command post or something like that, where it was like a couple blocks away. They had set up like a central command, like HQ for other officers and stuff like that.
At some point, did you learn whether or not the individuals were taken in custody?
Yeah, like way late in the night.
Did you learn where they were located?
Yes, I did. So they actually walked me, like they showed me where it happened
And
afterwards.
Where were they located?
So the painter that I referenced earlier on in this testimony, we shared basically drywall with them, 2 pieces of drywall. So they were right in the unit adjacent to where ours is.
And that unit, that's on the first floor, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct, yeah.
Does it have windows in it at all?
It does, yeah. Uh-huh.
And are they facing the parking lot, or are they facing...
So if you're facing the front of the building, my unit is on the right. It faces the right side of the building. And then there's another unit behind ours that also faces right into the parking lot. So this unit would have looked, and I say looked, it's not like a perfectly clear window, it's like frosted, but would have looked into the parking lot.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Did the law enforcement that showed up, did they have lights and sirens? Were there any lights? Were there any sounds?
Yeah, tons. And, you know, like we're pretty aware of what goes on, just given like the thinness of the walls. You know, there's no insulation between our walls. And then, you know, especially at night, you're aware of any lights that go down the street, anything like that.
Okay, you mentioned the walls and the thin walls. What do you mean? Do you mean you're aware because of noise or because of what you see?
Yeah, both. For the walls, you know, we hear other units, other people, you know, in the building. Like I know when other people are in the building, for sure. And the the
just
windows
to clear your
up.
testimony, you know they're in the building because you can hear them, or you know they're in the building because you see them?
Are we talking about the officers
general,
or in general?
Hold on, just let me finish my
go
question.
ahead.
This wall you share is what you're trying to say, that you can tell if somebody's in there even if you haven't seen them?
Yeah, you can hear them. I mean,
Alright.
if they're making noise.
Okay. And when you were in the building for that hour, was the building being searched, or was law enforcement out in the parking lot?
No, the building was being searched at that time.
And what did you hear, if anything?
So I was in like the front of the building at the time. They definitely had guns drawn. You know, they were searching the building. They were announcing that they were there. They were definitely making a presence.
Okay. Before this day, which was in December 3rd, I guess it was December late in the night, but
Yeah.
before this occurred, had you ever seen anything discarded or left out in a hallway in the building?
Oh yeah. So in the center promenade that I mentioned earlier about like where the camera is, there's people put like people put things to give away there, and then also people like store things there for very short periods of time. At the time, there was like a new Tempur-Pedic mattress that was there, or new to me, looking new, and it was sitting up against a wall, and it was there for a while because somebody had like taped a note to it that was like, "Can I buy this from you?" Whoever it was.
And how long was it there? Days, weeks?
Days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why is the mattress significant to you?
So the mattress was taken into the unit, and I saw that afterwards. So when they showed me the unit again, you could see that the mattress was then in there. I don't really know who actually owned the mattress, even to this day.
At some point, did you ever see the mattress again?
Yeah, so then somebody, I don't know who, but somebody took it back out of the hallway, and I think whoever actually owned it didn't want it anymore because it floated around. Like it was sometimes like in front of the unit that they were in, and sometimes in the middle of the hallway, and sometimes like on the floor. Like it was a very, it was very agnostic where it was for a while, and then I don't know what happened to it.
Okay, all right. Nothing further.
Ross? Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Good morning. Morning? Morning. So, excuse me, just one moment. So you went to 1111 Bellevue on December 3rd of 2021 at approximately 10 p.m. from what you recall? Mm-hmm. Is that
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you say I might ask you to say yes.
Time, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. You said that you described 1111 Bellevue as an industrial building that was once used for manufacturing.
Yeah, in the 1920s.
Right.
So, yeah.
On December 3rd of 2021, it was not a manufacturing building.
No, there are individuals, tenants who do different types of manufacturing. Like there's a millwork company. We technically manufacture coffee, but they're not manufacturing pickup trucks in the way that they were 100 years ago.
Right. So in the 20s, it was used as basically a truck factory.
As far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But on December 3rd of 2021, it was a business building.
Correct. Yeah.
It was just industrial in style.
Specifically the look of the building.
Right. The look of the building was industrial, but it was not an industrial use building.
I think it's technically zoned industrial still to this day. I don't know if it's zoned mixed use, but I'm not fully positive on the regulations and codes of buildings.
What we agree on is that they're not building pickup trucks, right?
Correct.
It's not abandoned.
Correct.
There were multiple tenants in the building.
Correct.
And there had been multiple tenants for quite some time, for what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. At least a couple of years.
Okay. Where you roast coffee is approximately 3,000 square feet, is that correct?
Yeah, so there's 2,000 square feet on the first floor and an additional 1,000 on the third floor.
Okay, so the 2,000 square feet on the first floor is the space where you share the wall with the artist studio.
Yes, correct.
And then you have the 1,000 square feet on the floor, which is where you keep your cars.
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
Okay. There's also, you can drive your car in. In fact, in this video I think we can see where your car is parked. And you can drive your car in To like is there like a garage door or something?
So not in this. So it's on the front of the building. There's a drive-in garage door.
Okay. And that's how people get to their various garages, is that?
Yeah, to say, I would say like there aren't any other garages in the space, but that's how people unload and load their cars in there.
You said that you were generally aware of the Oxford High School shooting on November 30th of 2021.
Yeah.
You had seen media reports, I'm sure.
Yes.
You'd read stuff on social media.
Yeah.
You said that everyone knew what happened.
Yeah.
On November 30th of 2021.
Correct.
Prior to December 3rd of 2021, you saw a poster, a wanted poster on social media. Mm-hmm. Is that a yes?
Yes.
And you saw it on December 3rd of 2021.
I believe so.
And that poster had a photo of James and Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes.
Or photos of James and Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes.
A photo of their vehicles?
Yes.
A license plate number?
Yes.
General information about the shooting?
Yes.
It indicated, I think your testimony was, it indicated that they were on the run.
Yes, I think it was more of like a be on the lookout or a wanted poster generally.
There was a reward offered, if you remember?
I don't remember at the time.
Your testimony was that the Kia, which we can see on the left side of the frame, was parked the farthest from the building entrance. Do you remember that being your testimony?
Yes.
You also testified that there's actually a door on the right side of the frame in front of where your car is parked.
Yes, I would say that the main entrance and then the ancillary entrances, I'm speaking mostly in regards to the main entrance of the building, which is on the front.
Okay, so there were multiple entrances to the building.
Mm-hmm. There are 3 entrances to the building.
Okay, so there wasn't just one way to get in on the front of the building, there was also the door right where your car is parked. And in fact, we watched you walk into that door.
Yes.
You said that you walked up to the Kia on the left side of the frame, you walked around to the back, we watched you do that, correct?
Yes.
You confirmed the license plate number from what was on the wanted poster on your social media.
Yes.
And then you saw someone sitting next to the car.
Yes.
If you recall, that person was smoking?
I don't recall. I saw that in other news articles and things like that, but I did not say that or see that originally.
Okay. You said that you didn't expect to see anyone sitting outside of the car?
Yeah.
You expected just to have the car there empty?
I think for clarity, I didn't expect to see the car or have the car be a matching car in the first place, so there were a lot of unexpected things happening at that specific time, but that's about it.
You said that you wanted to get safely inside.
Yes.
You assumed that the person that you saw was dangerous?
Yes.
That was based on what you had seen on the news and in media reports?
Yes.
Based on the wanted poster?
Yeah, maybe not particularly, I wouldn't say that like the poster said armed and dangerous or anything like that. Not 100% positive, but I think generally in a situation like that I would fear for my safety.
Based on your own personal beliefs about the Oxford High School shooting and what you had heard in the media about James and Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes.
The person sitting outside the car didn't say anything to you?
They did not.
They didn't say, hey, look away?
No.
They didn't say a word, right?
There was no interaction between us.
In Exhibit 303 you called, was your 911 call. You recall that you told the 911 dispatcher that the parents were on the run?
Yes.
And again, that was information that you had based on what you'd heard in the news and the media and what you'd seen on the wanted poster. The person that you encountered next to the Kia didn't say, hey man, I'm running away. You said there was no encounter at all with that person.
No interaction.
Okay. Now, right around this timestamp, 23:06 on the video, which I believe is about 20 minutes earlier real time, the prosecutor pointed out that somebody walked across the parking lot after you'd entered the building.
Yes.
That person didn't run after you, correct?
No.
From what you saw in the video?
Correct.
They didn't chase you down?
They did not.
Didn't threaten you in any way?
They did not.
You didn't even know that they were there?
Obviously I saw them. I didn't know that they followed me in.
Correct. You didn't know that they walked in after you'd walked into the building?
Correct. I think by the time I was in my unit, I didn't hear the door shut. I didn't know if they softly close the door or anything, but I didn't know that they were in it.
You had no knowledge that that person had even entered the building.
Correct.
You then testified that there was about a couple minutes later, we watch, and I'll play the video too. Oh, I just went to sleep. We'll play the video too. A couple minutes after this 2306, or a couple minutes after you called 911, the police showed up.
Correct.
So if you look at the timestamp, right now it's 2306:54. And then it jumps to 2321. And then we play it for a little while, and we see what you believed was a patrol car out there outside the fence, correct?
Yes.
At 2321.
Yes.
So at that point, it had been just shy of about 20 minutes between you entering the building, at some point making a 911 call, and the police showing up.
From this, yeah.
From this video.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'd say my conception of time was probably a little skewed in that specific moment, just given the heightened senses, you know.
Yeah, and I'm not asking you to lock into the time number in the couple minutes. I'm asking, it actually was not just a couple minutes, it was actually more than a couple minutes.
Sure.
That's all I'm asking.
Sure.
Okay. Now, I thought I heard you say this a couple of times, but I just want to clarify. You said that you were at the building for about an hour after you made your 911 call?
More or less, I'm not 100% positive exactly.
Then you were driven to a temporary, what you call the command post?
Yeah.
That law enforcement had set up?
Yeah, correct. I think there was media there was more squad cars, there was like a massive blue bus for the police.
And then, and this was the part that I wanted to make sure I heard you say correctly. And then the police took you back to this building and walked you through
Well, my
the scene?
car was there, so I had to get my car. And so when I was going through the building to get my car, there were a bunch of police in the building, and they were like, oh, this is where they were.
And they allowed you to enter the scene? And
No, I did not enter the scene.
Okay. And that's what I was unclear about, because you testified that you had seen the mattress in the unit after James and Jennifer Crumbley got arrested.
Yeah, so when I walked through the center of the building, you have to turn right to exit to access this parking lot that's on the screen. And so to exit that, you have to pass by the door of where they were hiding. And so that door was open, so you could see the mattress.
Okay. Now, you talked about what you heard while you were in the building. You said that you were at the front of the building while the police were searching the building?
Yeah. So like I said, I was generally kind of floating around. Because I have two doors on my building, or my unit, for example. I have like side doors and the front door. And so I was somewhere between those, or I was outside in the front.
So you know what you heard and saw, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what you observed on your own?
Yes.
You have no knowledge of what James Crumbley heard or saw while the police were there?
That's correct.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, just briefly. Do people, is there any residential unit, and I guess what I'm asking is, do people sleep at the building?
No, it's within the terms of my lease, at least. And generally, I think it's one boilerplate lease that goes across all of them. Though that is an assumption that it is not allowed, you're not allowed to sleep there at all.
Oh, okay, thank you. I want to play the video, just a portion of it quickly. Your testimony was that you never saw the front of this individual?
That's right.
But what the actual piece of clothing, how did you describe it?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
How did you describe it? You said something in the 911 call.
I said it was a plaid hoodie.
Okay, do you know what color? Do you remember what color it was?
During the 911 call, I didn't say. I think it might have been blue.
Okay, but you're not sure?
Not 100% positive.
Okay. And now I'm going to show you another image. Exhibit 304. First of all, is that the art studio, if you know?
Yeah, I've never been inside of it, but like I said, when you pass to go to the parking lot or leave the parking lot, Sometimes the door's open, so I know that there's like paintings in there, and I know the general footprint of the space, just given where it is.
All right. Did you ever see James or Jennifer Crumbley, other than...
No,
Okay.
only the obviously the seeing somebody next to the car, but when they were arrested and taken away, I wasn't in the building, or I was at the like command post.
Okay.
area.
And can you describe what that individual is wearing that's not the police officer?
It looks like a blue sweatshirt or hoodie of some sort, plaid.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Brief cross. Mr. Curley, to your knowledge, James or Jennifer Crumbley were not tenants of 1111 Bellevue,
That's correct.
You have no idea if they had any knowledge of what the terms of the lease were, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
But they wouldn't have had a fob because they weren't a tenant, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
As far as you know, they were not a tenant.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you. May you be excused?
Yes, you can step down. You're excused.
We have a brief witness ready, Judge.
Okay. Their lunch is not here yet. I'm going to keep them hungry. Usually their lunch is here very early. Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Could you please step up? And can you have a seat? And could you state your name for the record and spell your first and last name?
David Metzke, D-A-V-I-D, Metzke, M-E-T-Z-K-E.
Go ahead, prosecutor.
Thank you. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing well, how are you?
Fine, thanks. And tell us, please, how you're employed.
Currently employed with Detroit Police Department.
And how long have you been a police officer with Detroit?
Close to 7.5 years.
Okay. Tell us, please, what's your current assignment?
Currently assigned to the Detroit Special Response Team.
Tell the jury, please, what exactly is the Detroit Special Response Team?
So that is the SWAT team for the Detroit Police Department.
Okay. Tell us, what are some of the responsibilities associated with a team member of the Detroit Police Special Response Team?
Okay, so our primary jobs are barricaded persons, hostage situations, dignitary protection, high-risk search warrant, and fugitive apprehension.
Okay. How often would you say that you engage in these sort of duties?
So I'm close to 60 barricade or hostage situations right now, and I would say a little over 200 warrants right now.
Okay. Is this something that is a SWAT team member or special response team member you do on a daily or weekly basis?
Every day. Yes, sir.
And how long have you been a member of the special response team?
Going on 4 years.
4 years, okay. I'd like to direct your attention to about 11:30 p.m. on Friday, December the 3rd, 2021. Do you recall that date and time?
I do.
And were you working or were you called in?
I was called in.
And tell us what that means, please.
So I was probably sleeping at that time. My work phone goes off because we're always on call. So it's blasting. I wake up, you look at your phone, and depending on what you get called in, so that day we were called in for fugitive apprehension. We're told to report to the base. I reported to my base.
The Detroit Police Special Response Team base?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then what do you do there?
Then I gather all my equipment up. So, you grab your rifle, your body armor, your belt, anything you need for your objective for the night.
Okay. Were you told at that point why you were being called in specifically?
We knew we were going for 2 fugitives.
Okay. And so you got to the base and then you obtained your gear?
Correct.
And what happens next?
Then I was loaded onto the Bearcat, which is our smaller armored vehicle. And then we go from there to our assigned address.
Okay. So if I understand you correctly, there were other members of the special response team with you at the base at that point?
Yes, sir.
And you said we loaded on the Bearcat, so that means other members loaded onto the vehicle as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall how many?
I would say around 6.
6? Okay. And you traveled together to the location you were called for?
Yes, sir.
Would that be 1111 Bellevue in Detroit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So give us an idea sort of where this location is.
So the closest geographic I would say would be like Belle Isle. If we go like Belle Isle and then west off of Jefferson, it's like the closest I can describe it.
Now, do you recall approximately what time you would have arrived there?
It was late. I know we got recalled late, like almost 12. And
12 is at midnight?
12 midnight, correct.
Okay.
So I would say it took me about 20 minutes to get from my house to the base, and then after loading the equipment up, probably about 25 minutes from our base to the location.
All right. Tell us, please, what you observed when you arrived at that location.
So we were one of the last officers there because there's two different teams on the special response team. There's a reactive team. The first guys, they have take-homes, and they go directly to the scene.
Take-home vehicles?
Correct.
Okay.
And then the second set of the team, which I'm on, they go to the base and get all the equipment, and then they go to the scene. So we were probably one of the last officers that arrived to the scene at the time.
Okay. So when you arrived there, can you give us a number, approximately how many other law enforcement personnel you observed?
So I can't give you a hard number, but I can tell you when we pulled up in the armor, it was packed. Like I've been to a lot of stuff, right? The street was like I didn't even know what I was honestly pulling up on when we did that. When we pulled up in that small Bearcat, I was like, well, all right, I guess we're doing this. And there was tons of officers. The street was packed. It was busy.
Now, tons of officers. Are we talking about just Detroit or other departments as well?
I couldn't, like, once I got in the building, I could tell you more. But pulling up, I just seen a lot of cop cars.
Okay. So when you arrived, you made that observation. Did you meet with other team members?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happens next?
So I got off the Bearcat. I grabbed the Halligan, which is like a pry bar. So we're taught that you have to grab your Halligan and a ram because you never know what you're going into.
Can you describe what those two things are, please?
Yeah. So your Halligan, it's gonna have like a sharp point on it and like rabbit tails on the end of it, and it's like a bar like about this big.
Are you talking about 3 feet long or so?
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Safe to say. Then you have your ram, and we use a maritime ram, so it's probably about this big. It's like 35 pounds, and it has a block on it about that big.
Okay, just so we have a little bit of idea of making a record here. About a foot and a half long, or?
2 feet, safe to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said there's an end on it?
A square end, yeah.
A square end, and that's, what, 6 inches diameter?
Yeah, I would say it's safe to say, yeah.
Okay. And what is that made out of, if you know?
It's enough to break the door down, so
Okay.
steel.
Okay. And you said it's about 35 pounds?
Yes.
All right. So you grab those two tools, and then what happens?
I grabbed the Halligan. So
The Halligan.
it'd be too much to carry your rifle, all your equipment, a ram and halo. So I grabbed the Halligan. I came off the Bearcat, and then I made entry to the door. It was like a smaller door. I remember coming in and then like going left. And when I got in, there was like a lot of officers there, my team members there, guys in jeans with like police vests on, like a marshal. There was a lot going on when I walked in.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's been admitted as People's 306. Is that photograph in front of you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you recognize what's in this photograph?
Yes, sir.
And tell me what this is, please.
That's the scene where we responded to you.
Okay. And is that photograph fairly accurately depict what that building was on the evening or the night of December the 3rd, 2021?
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, to me, you got to think I'm coming in at 1 a.m. Dark time. It was a warehouse.
Okay.
That's what I remember there.
And here's 307. Is this the same building, just different view?
Yeah, that looks like the door I walked in. See how it's like a smaller door?
To the left of the picture here?
Yeah, to the left, right there. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I recall walking into a door similar to that.
Okay. And tell us again what you encountered when you went in that door.
So I came in and then I went left. And when I came in, I remember I had my team members here, which our team members, they're very like distinctive. Like we all wear black, and you have your SRT patch on, and you have your Kevlar helmet on. We're very distinct. And then you have other officers like patrol or unmarked officers. So I knew who I was going to rendezvous with my team.
Okay, so you have one standard uniform, SRT guys.
Correct.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier individuals with jeans and vests that say police or...
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you walked in at that point, could you give us an idea of how many law enforcement personnel you saw?
There was a lot.
Okay, a lot is in more than 10?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
More than 20?
Safe to say there was, I would say, 20 if not more.
Okay. And this building here, depicted in People's Exhibit 307, there's multiple floors?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, when you walked in, you mentioned you rendezvous with your team.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
us what happens next.
So we moved, I met up with my sergeant, and they told us that what we're going to do, we're going to start moving through this building. We're going to be looking for these fugitives. So SRT will clear the first level, second level, third level, and move on up. So once we got in there, I remember coming in, there was a hallway to the right, there was a hallway to the left, and then it kind of went like this, and there was like 2 bathrooms on the side here.
Okay. So did Detroit police have one specific assignment then?
Detroit Police?
The SRT, yes.
Yes, at that time, correct.
Okay. So tell us what happened going through this initial assignment.
So we were looking for 2 fugitives. We started on the first level, and we started breaking down doors.
Okay. Let me pause you right there. Breaching or breaking down doors. Tell us, please, what that entails.
So you're using that ram that I kind of explained, right? It's usually one of the bigger guys on the team. It's a specific form. It's the way you swing back, and you're using a ram specifically to bypass the lock on a door. So you're pushing it in with the forks.
Okay. Did you use this tool on one door or multiple doors on the first floor?
I would call us using it on multiple. I would say not more than 3, but I would say at least 2 to 3.
Okay. And that's on the first floor. What about on the second or third floors?
So I remember before we even got there, we had K9 down there too, which was with us.
K9 is in police dogs?
Correct.
Okay.
From there, somebody notified our team that 2 fugitives may be possibly on the second floor, and they never came down. So we went upstairs. When we got upstairs, there was another SWAT team. It wasn't. I'm not sure what SWAT team it was. It could have been a federal SWAT team.
It wasn't Detroit though.
No, it was not Detroit.
Okay.
So we got up there. They told us that there was locked doors, but they cleared the open doors at that time. So sooner or later, our team got a hold of a ring, like full of keys, and I'm talking like it was a ring, like 100 keys. And there you go. Well, these are the keys to this building. Use it, so we stop breaking down our doors. So we started unlocking doors in the second story and clearing it out.
Okay.
And,
That's on the second floor?
correct.
Okay, but that's after doors were already breached on the first floor?
Correct.
Okay. This is Exhibit 309. Just to confirm, this is the same building, 1111 Bellevue in Detroit, just from a different view?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, correct. Okay, thank you. Now, after you obtained, or your team obtained that ring of keys on the second floor, did you obtain information that the wanted fugitives could be somewhere in the building?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and do you recall where that was?
So we were notified, at least I was notified, that the fugitives may be downstairs in a particular room. So our team went back downstairs to the particular room, and we lined up, and
Okay, particular room, was it Suite 130?
I would say it's safe to say.
Okay, so that would be on the first floor. Prior to that information being obtained by your team, that door was not breached, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, were doors around that suite breached?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is that a loud process or a quiet one?
It's going to be loud.
Okay, and that's because you described the 35-pound ram and what it's used for?
Yeah, you're breaking down. Yeah, you're slamming a door.
Now, on this particular evening, December 3rd, 2021, well, first of all, let me ask you, do you recall the approximate time that you entered Suite 130 at this location?
I don't know the exact. It was late. I know it was late. I know we were clearing probably for at least 40 minutes before we got there.
Okay, and that's your particular team clearing for 40 minutes?
Yes, sir. I'm
Okay.
saying me specifically with my team.
Okay, thank you. Were you equipped with body-worn camera?
Yes, sir.
That incident? Okay. And if we had a date and time stamp from that body-worn camera, would that tell us specifically when it occurred?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you what's been admitted as People's 304. This is a body-worn camera from that week. Just to confirm here, we have a date of December 4th, 2021, 1:34 a.m. And your name is on the bottom of this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recognize this as being your body-worn camera footage?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any weapons?
Wait. Is he cuffed over there?
Good.
All right.
Just go ahead.
On the bed and hook her. Hey, come on. I'm 14. Secondary.
All good. Yep. Those are mine. Sorry. What do you mean? Look at it.
Marc.
This is still an arrest. Out. Man, we have double checks and weapons on. Okay. We're not. This is still an act. We got them. I got you. Go up. Listen, everybody, please listen. Not asking you.
Sir, I'm going to stop it right there. What was the purpose in looking in that specific area?
So SRT will clear out, make sure there's no weapons, or if there is weapons, we'd like it to be known before like detectives or patrol would come in.
So SRT's responsibility would be, in this situation, would be to find and make secure the fugitives, but not to search the location?
Correct.
Okay.
Step on the head again, slide on. Do the best you can. There you go. Put your foot in, put your foot in.
I can't do it.
I do switch these around.
Here, bro. No, never mind. Hey, Woody. Here you go.
Just step on the back, push it down.
Put your hands together like your brand. Hands back together like your brand. Double out those. Can I see your pocket?
No, I can't see your pocket. That's fine.
You sure you're
Yeah. Hey, Bill, yes. Alice, come here. Sure, sir. No, we're going to
The search of the male fugitive's person, that's for weapons. Where any found?
Not that I can recall now.
What's that? She did? We got Marc St. It's a good guy. Yeah. No, psychological now. Hey, Liz? Yeah. Come with us. What are you doing? Come on, sir. You good? Good?
I'm just going to pause it for a second. At 1:42 a.m., 22 seconds. This is the hallway right outside of the suite where they were found in that location?
Yes, sir.
Okay, does this give an idea of the number of law enforcement personnel outside of that suite at that time?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Nice work.
Thank you. I have nothing further, Judge.
Cross.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Ma'am?
Your role with Detroit Special Response Team, one of the things that you do is fugitive apprehension.
Yes, ma'am.
Fugitive apprehension is typically when there's a person who is not coming in to address allegations or charges against them, correct?
I would say that's
Okay.
correct.
Usually, fugitive apprehension is you get involved when it, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
if it becomes clear that that person is not going to come in on their own.
I'm just going to object to the form of the question, Judge. He's testified that he gets notified of when to report to base. He's given an assignment, that does the assignment.
Yeah, are you the one who decides that?
No, ma'am.
In fact, you receive information from your supervisors,
Yes, ma'am.
and you have no knowledge of the truth to the information that you receive. Truth or inaccuracy, either way.
And I believe my supervisor not to lie to me, so I'm listening to the order.
So you get a phone call, and you go to the station.
Yes, ma'am.
You testified that there were, I think you said, tons of officers at 1111 Bellevue on December 4th of 2021.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. December 4th. Yes, ma'am.
You knew that there was a shooting at Oxford High School on November 30th of 2021?
Yes, ma'am.
You had seen media coverage about it?
Yes, ma'am.
You were aware of it?
I believe so, yes.
Were you also aware that James and Jennifer Crumbley had been charged in connection with the shooting on November 30th?
I can't say I remember or not.
Okay. You don't specifically recall seeing that they were charged?
Is that a no?
No.
Thank you, Your Honor. Exhibit 306 was a photo of the exterior of 1111 Bellevue. Your testimony was that you remembered it as a warehouse?
Yes, ma'am.
You learned that it was actually a building that had multiple businesses in it, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You knew who you were looking for in 1111 Bellevue that night?
Yes, ma'am.
You had been given photographs?
I believe so.
Descriptions?
I believe so.
You knew that they were the parents of the Oxford High School shooter?
Yes, ma'am.
And you received that information from your supervisors or from the other officers when you arrived on scene?
I would say it's safe to say our supervisors.
Okay. Because the reason I asked that is because you testified that when you pulled up onto Bellevue, you didn't know what you were there for. So I wanted to clarify that before you entered 1111 Bellevue, you were given information about why you were entering.
I knew I was going for a fugitive apprehension.
And who it was?
No, at the time I made entry, we found out pretty much who it was, I would say.
Okay. Entry into the building?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You testified that you received information while you were inside of Bellevue that the individuals may be on the second floor and may not have come down. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
That was not true, correct?
Yes. Yes.
You learned that that was not true.
Yes.
The video from your body-worn camera, which starts at 1:34 a.m. and 20 seconds on the timestamp, or it looks like 18 seconds on the timestamp, it's quiet when your video starts, correct?
Correct.
You can hear
Yes,
like a little bit of your movement with your equipment and stuff, but otherwise you don't hear yelling, you don't hear any other sounds, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You would agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
You recall when you entered the unit, obviously it was dark.
That's it. Yeah, didn't leave it.
You don't recall seeing police lights in the windows of the room, if you recall?
Yeah, ma'am, I wasn't paying attention there, but
You were looking at the people that were on the bed, right?
Yes.
In the middle of the room.
yes, ma'am.
In fact, when you entered the unit, when you and your team entered the unit, James and Jennifer Crumbley were laying on a mattress in the middle of the room, which we saw.
Yes.
James was laying on his side, if you recall? If you recall.
I mean, it appears to be in the video.
They weren't covered with boxes or anything like that, correct?
No.
There was I think Jennifer Crumbley had a blanket on, otherwise James was completely uncovered.
It's safe to say.
He slowly rolled over as you all were giving him commands, correct?
It looks like that. I think I was paying more attention to Jennifer.
Okay.
So,
You don't recall him doing anything that would cause you all to be concerned. He didn't jump up, he didn't start to run, he didn't become combative. None of that happened from what you recall.
I would say he did none of that, but as far as our team goes, we're trying to take every caution as it is. We treat every person the same. We come up high, and then their reaction is how we go from.
And safe to say, when SRT gets involved, it's typically, and you talked about high risk, dangerous, so you're going into these scenarios already at a heightened level of concern or security or awareness. Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't walk into the situation without all of your uniform on and your equipment and everything else thinking, oh, this is no big deal.
No, we don't do that.
Because when your unit gets involved, typically it gets involved in situations that are serious.
Correct.
And you guys are given information about situations that are serious.
Correct.
You guys meaning your unit.
Yes, ma'am.
You can hear yelling, if you recall. You hear yelling on the video, and if you know, you later learn that was James Crumbley.
Okay.
He wasn't yelling at officers.
Okay. Yes,
You-
ma'am.
you recall that?
Yeah, he didn't seem to be yelling at us.
Okay. He was just making sounds. It sounded almost, and if you know, if you agree, it sounded almost that he was in pain.
Safe to say.
And again, the mattress was in the middle of the room. James and Jennifer Crumbley were on it.
Yes, ma'am.
They weren't hiding in a corner.
No, ma'am.
They weren't hiding behind any of the raised countertops that were in there.
Nope.
They weren't hiding behind any of the paintings that were in there. They weren't covering themselves with blankets?
No, ma'am.
If you recall, your unit received information that James and Jennifer Crumbley may have a weapon with them.
Yeah, so, ma'am, I can't, I don't recall. We just treat every person that we're going after as if there possibly is a weapon.
Now, you all searched that unit and you did not find any weapons.
No, ma'am.
And you searched both James and Jennifer Crumbley and there was nothing found on them either.
Somebody did. I didn't. But somebody
Okay,
did.
somebody searched them.
Correct.
Okay. And we talked about this a little bit at the beginning. It's not your job to verify whether or not the information that you receive is accurate, correct?
Correct.
Your job is to get the call, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You go to the base,
Correct.
you get your equipment on, you load into whatever vehicle you're taking, and you go to the scene that you've been called to.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when the investigations are being done by your own department, you tend to have a little more information at the beginning. Is that fair?
Me, myself.
Your unit.
So, yes, ma'am. I would say normally during times that we get called out, it starts high and then it comes to us. If that makes sense.
High in the rankings.
Yes.
So it would go to your supervisor or their supervisor and it gets filtered down to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you recall, at around 6 minutes and 40 seconds on the video, I don't remember what the timestamp was, you can hear James Crumbley say we were leaving at 7 in the morning. Do you remember hearing that in the video?
I'm going to check with that, Judge. There's been any testimony of that, nor has there been any indication that that happened.
It's on the video, Your Honor.
Well, then I think the video should speak for itself for the jury to make the
Yeah,
determination.
ladies and gentlemen, you can rely on what you see in the evidence and on the video, all right?
Do you recall hearing that on the video?
Ma'am, we can run it back. But,
Okay.
no.
I can put it there. It's at 6:24.
This is 3 or 5, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't know if that audio is working. Oh, I don't know. Can you hear it from this?
Yeah, so this is the second time I've been watching the video, so yeah.
Again, this witness can't interpret what he thinks somebody else may have heard. His camera obviously is 3 people away from where James Crumbley's in the video. The video would speak for itself.
It does. She asked if you heard it.
And he asked me to play the video back, Your Honor.
Now, he said, if you want to play it back, go ahead. I mean,
Well, she
in
did.
response to a question of, did you hear that?
Okay, so did you hear it?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect.
Sir, did you learn that they had active arrest warrants at the time you arrived on scene?
I don't recall. I
In
would
order
say
for the fugitive arrest to occur, you need active arrest warrants.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And why would you be quiet right before you entered suite 130?
So that's a form of a tactic. So we're trying to do, if you can see we use keys, correct?
Yes.
You can have 2 options. We could ram the door, we could throw a flashbang in and cause diversionary, or you can come in and be quiet. It would be a shock effect that way. So our supervisors make the decision to use the keys, unlock it, and use it as a surprise effect.
So everyone being quiet in the hallway, that was intentional as a tactic before you entered this particular suite?
Yes.
Now the using the ram, that wasn't a quiet tactic, was it?
No.
Okay, so the noise level that would have been depicted before those doors were breached right around this suite here would have been much different?
Yes.
Thank you, nothing further.
Briefly, Your Honor? You have no knowledge of your own whether or not James Crumbley heard anything that was going on outside of that suite, correct?
No.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, you can step down and you're excused.
Thank you.
All right, can I have you return at 1:30 after lunch? Don't discuss the case with anyone, don't research anything, don't look at any media, don't go on Facebook. You know the drill. right? Okay, we'll see you back at 1:30, okay?
All rise for the jury.
All right, you may be seated. Who's the next witness? Who's the next witness?
When we approach that tradition, Judge?
I think just
More courtroom coverage in the trial of James Crumbley from the Hidden Killers podcast from True Crime Today is coming up. Press subscribe now so you don't miss a minute.